So, bush and forest it is. I've just put a puzzle, a mishmash of different lines in here to start organizing what's what in this area. I had an old tube of Grumbacher Van Dyke Brown, so I mixed that with some yellow ochre as a foundation for our colors up top here. Now I'm just doing the tedious labor of filling in the lines. Well, filling in the area, yeah, filling in the lines, you know. Not much different than a coloring book and a crayon. Except, of course, that I make my own drawings. They don't come pre-drawn. And all of these telephone poles that I put in, they will have various branches coming off them. But it's easier for me to paint in the general colors of everything and then afterwards lay on some of the other branches. Because if I had them all laid in now, boy, I would have to do a lot of cutting in and out, cutting in and around all these, you know, what would be then far more lines. I'd be using a smaller brush, slowing the whole process down, and the painting would end up a lot tighter. So I sort of would end up causing myself more work for no good reason. And if there's an easier way to do it, I will take the easier way. Thank you very much. And this is just the beginning stage of getting things organized in the background. There will be more of that as we go. I'm not getting too fussy. I'm not worrying about going over some of the lines that I've made previously. I mean, you can see the brush I'm using. It's not exactly a new, fresh brush with sharp shoulders. It's got some wear and tear on it. When I do the actual painting, when I do the overpainting, if I use a brush, then I'm going to be using a newer brush. If I use a knife, much of what I'm doing right now will become moot. And so that's kind of why I'm not too concerned about things. Funny when you're working, when you're painting, if you start off being too concerned, you'll end up with, you're just pointing yourself in the direction of having a really tight painting. I don't like that. This looks all quite green. It does lean towards the green, you know, especially because we're working against burnt sienna, which is very red. I don't mind a lower value green for the backdrop here because when I paint into it, we're going to be going more yellow. Maybe not much more, maybe more like this in areas. It'll be warming the colors up anyway. Okay, let's see. What if we add a little bit of alizarin crimson to this? And that actually brings us more into that territory. Yes, it does. Stuff up here, there might be the odd speck of sunlight reflecting off of the bush. I don't know, haven't decided yet. We're really going to come into the brilliance when we get down in this area. That's going to change. That's when you get to the really rewarding part of the painting. Putting in those luscious, strong colors. Cut into this trunk a little bit. I'd like this trunk to be a little bit thinner, a little too meaty. It's not different enough from the right hand side trunks. I do not want them to be similar. And I don't want this branch cutting into this trunk either. I'd like to keep them separate. You let those guys get too close together, they'll fight with each other, and then I'll just have to, I'm telling you, I'll turn this painting around and head right back home. So we don't want our trees fighting with each other. You know, in this color that I'm using right now, I'll most likely will have a little bit of sky poking through. Just hints of it. Just hints of it. Not a pile. Mix up a little more of that. Van Dyke brown and yellow ochre. A little bit of alizarin crimson. Hint of ultramarine blue. Very sort of muted, dirtyish purple. That's good for our background. It makes the foreground pop. Does a better job of making that pop. I get the feeling that by the time I've done all this work of outlining everything, I'm going to say to myself, well, I've done all that, maybe I should just use a brush to finish it. Maybe I should use a brush for the overpainting. I get the feeling it might just go that way. No guarantees though. Okay, so we're sort of understanding what's going on up top a little more. And every little bit helps. It's slowly getting the thing organized. I'll square off really quickly here with the camera. No, I'll square the camera off with the painting really quickly here. So you can see how it's sitting. Alright guys, talk to you soon.